Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Hummel Insurance Group for sponsoring today's show. Hummel Insurance Group now owns and operates 7 different offices located throughout the tri-state area. For over 50 years now, the Hummel Insurance Group has been assisting customers with insurance needs and questions. For all your insurance needs, contact Hummel Insurance Group at 812-537-1785.
Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Radio, and I am here with my weary, worn out looking, well, I don't want to say looking, you're worn out.
Go ahead, just say it. Just say it. You can say that again. It has been a party weekend.
Holy cow. Merry Christmas, everybody.
We intentionally had to just push off the recording of the show so that we could survive it and get through it all.
Well, we didn't want to talk about Christmas if we hadn't had Christmas
until we had it,
right?
Yeah.
So,
you know how those fake, they do like New Year's things in October and stuff, and everybody acts like they're celebrating the New Year. No, we've already celebrated. You're going to get the real stories today.
Absolutely. And it was a great, great time. It was a lot of fun, although it was kind of another COVID Christmas. I don't know about you, but a lot of family and friends came down with COVID. Some of them already had the vaccine. Some of them already had the virus before. And so we actually had about half the people here.
I thought I was hearing all kinds of stuff that you couldn't get COVID, but our sons have had it like 3 times now. And
maybe it was just their way of getting out of family Christmas. I don't know.
But we did. The Hutchinsons had a great Christmas. It was pared down about half of what we thought it was going to be, which was kind of a bummer because we were getting all excited about a huge Christmas. We hadn't really had everybody together in a long time. Yeah. And so now we thought we were going to get it.
Yeah, all the nieces and nephews we thought were going to be in with their kids, and they were going to get to see everybody for the first time, and all the cousins were excited, and then half the cousins got COVID.
Boom. I mean, it was not just our family, not just our immediate family, but my siblings and stuff. They were falling like flies. And so
instead of 30 or 40, we had 18.
Yeah, normally we have over 40 pounds of turkey, and this time we just had one turkey.
I know. I kept one turkey in the freezer until but we did play a new game, and I don't know.
If it involves a dice, I'm not sure if this is good.
I got these at the Dollar Tree, and we literally had a little dice game. And it was kind of fun because you had 3 generations of family instead of like the white elephant gift.
Like to teach the young ones how to gamble early in the Hutchinson household.
It was fun because, we used to spend all this money on white elephants and no one liked what they got. Or, it was like, what do you get?
How about this? The number of white elephants that we would find in our landscaping or yard the next week or so after Christmas. Well, that's when you know it's not a very good white elephant.
Well, that's when we had to get something from our house. And so I remember one year, literally, there was a bowling ball with a bowling bag in the woods across the street from our house. And then there was like an old surfboard, like a little boogie board. It's like, why are we getting all of the reject white elephant gifts?
We host it, so they're not taking it to their dumpster.
So we said, just bring cash. So we, it cost everybody $3. It was really super easy, but it was fun because to see your dad, 80-something years old, and he was like, he was rubbing those little dice, and he was like blowing on it. And we're like, okay, Dad, seriously, it's COVID season, and here you are blowing on the dice. But, just to see. And then then we lost all his money. He was like, that's baloney, I think he had other words.
Is that what he said? Yeah, I don't think that's what he said.
But it was fun. And then our kids, and so, we didn't have any babies, and it was just weird.
Yeah. But it was fun. But we still had a great time. And I think we're going to get into today's show is going to be really centered around kind of the where do people go who don't have family during obviously during the Christmas season and holidays and stuff like that, but just where do you get rejuvenated with the importance of family? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Even though we didn't have everybody in for our Christmas, we're still making plans that as they're becoming COVID clear for them to be able to come in. And so we're still like, our Christmas might go all the way through January at this point.
Exactly.
But at least we have that opportunity. And so we're going to talk about that and the privilege of that, but also just the challenges when those out there that don't have that. So let's thank a few people, and then let's get into our show.
Yeah, we want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Hummel Insurance Group for their support of Rock Solid Radio. We would not be able to do what we're doing if it wasn't for their support. So tell them thank you if you know of those folks, and just letting them know this is a really important part of the community work that they do, and we're just excited and thankful to partner with them.
Yes. And so as we record this show, this is the last show that we will have for 2021. And so already looking into 2022, we've got some really cool things coming up that we have. Some of these we've been talking about, but we're going to keep plugging away. But we have a new edition. And so in the first week and a half or so of January, we are going to have a special guest on the show. Should we tell them who, or should we just leave them hanging?
No. I think we should tell them who, because it's very cool that we were able to secure Rachel Cruz, who is the daughter of Dave Ramsey.
I wonder how often she gets tired of being referred to as that.
We're actually going to ask her that question, But amazing national speaker, author. She has a podcast of her own and deals with families and money situations, a lot of finance things, but an awesome woman, a mom, a wife, a daughter. And so we're excited to have Rachel. That show will air, hopefully, God willing, on January 10th. So we will have to tune in. We're excited about that. Next week, we're hoping to really look back on 2021 and what God has been doing at Rock Solid Families in and through this ministry. So stay tuned for that. But
I think on that show in particular, we're not going to try to bog you down as listeners with statistics and numbers, but as much as what needs we are seeing and how we have been able to serve many of those needs, and how you guys listening and spreading the word about what we're offering and that kind of thing, how we do not look at this as just something Linda and I are doing. This is kind of a team function here, and the idea that we are seeing a lot of other people help because you guys are sharing shows, you're talking, you're making referrals. People come to us all the time. Oh, I've listened to a couple of your shows. Somebody, turned me on to a show or whatever. And so that's really what this mission is about, that we work together.
Oh, man, I forgot to bring my new mug. One of our listeners. And it's a Christmas mug, too. Dang it.
Well, it's too late now. Now you're going to have to do Easter or something.
Oh, no. I am so thankful for the support that we have of listeners who really listen and share these shows. And one of them brought by a gift at the office, and it was a mug. It was a Christmas mug. And I was like, oh, my gosh, we have. She's like, I know. I listen. And I was like, oh, my gosh, yes. So
I guess I'm going to have to start putting a call out for the things I want now. I mean, you're getting mugs sent to you and stuff. I don't know. I really like chainsaws.
You've been in a weird chainsaw mood lately.
Oh, man. If you're a tree, you better be careful.
Yeah, Strong Dads is pretty cool to see, just getting in the mood there for that. But, Rachel Cruz is going to be January 10th. We also are going to be involved in the Purpose Workshops, which we've been mentioning before, but it's coming up on January 15th. It's a Saturday. It's a half-a-day workshop for parents, for teens, for kids, anyone in school, kindergarten on up. We're actually going to be doing the K through 6 or K through 5, I think, age bracket, where we're going to be working with the kiddos there. It is a free workshop. It's going to be held at Harrison High School Activity Center or auditorium in that area. But you can go on to purposeworkshops.org, purposeworkshops.org to register. You need to register ahead of time, but it is a free workshop that we're going to be involved in on January 15th.
Yeah. So we have another great parenting workshop that we're really excited to do. We were called in to do this, and it's going to be specifically geared towards parenting in today's era. And so we're going to be tackling a lot of really current topics, from media to just how we discipline kids, all of these different things. And this is going to be hosted by the Urban Crest Church in Lebanon, Ohio. And so and for you to get more information, you can go to Urban Crest Church to their website and check it out. I think they're just calling it, we looked at it the other day, it's just parenting.
One-day conference on parenting, I think it is.
workshop.
Biblical parenting, yeah.
Yeah, so check that out. Looking forward to a great day. I believe it's going to be like a 9 to 4 kind of day. So it'll be a full day, but I've already know it's going to be pouring down rain and yucky outside. So you might as well go, just because I know that's how it is. So you guys just go ahead and make your plans now to go.
Yeah, and then we are going to be shifting gears the very next weekend, and we're going to be hosting, or we're going to be involved in a marriage event, actually, called Secure the Knot. So we did this as an overnight, partnering with Bright Christian Church in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and that's going to be a full day on February 19th. So you can go to brightchristian.org. They're actually going to be launching that link coming up here in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be able to find that in January.
You know, honestly, hon, I cannot think of a more important thing to do at the beginning of 2022 when we talk about resolutions and we talk about all of these things I need to get in order. This is something that we really do want to emphasize. We see way too many limping marriages that they've kind of existed for a long time. And, you know, I just can't even tell you how there are some super small, relatively easy things that a lot of couples could just start to work in that will, you know, make all the difference in the world. And they're not like, oh, this is impossible, we could never do this. No, just simple things. We're going to be talking about that, but I guarantee you that you will walk out of there with the idea of, wow, this is something that we really needed. And the reason why I know that is because that's how Linda and I operate. Like, we are going to be very practical. We're going to be talking very hands-on. We like to have fun as we talk and you know, just share these stories. And not only, you know, we share things that Linda and I do. Like, so it's not something from a book.
Good, bad, and ugly.
And you know, actually we know from mistakes that some of them don't work. So.
Yeah, and you know, it has been really cool this past year to see so many marriages transformed by just really some simple tools that they just didn't have, and it was almost like they were kind of missing the mark, you know. And two goodwill people just trying hard, but they were almost like spinning their wheels, feeling like they were stuck or just not hitting on all cylinders, man. And when you get those right tools in your hand, and you've got the heart and desire to do better, man, and you put God in the mix of that.
Right, you've got the right foundation on it. You know?
It's just been really cool. So we're excited about that.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of some background on this. So as Linda and I started to wrap things up and we were thinking just how we wanted to approach our show, we kind of knew our topic. We wanted to have Christmas to see how our brains processed our own Christmas and the experience of that and carry that into the show as it was fresh and in our mind. And one of the things, hon, that just struck both of us was the idea that our family stuff that we do is important to us. It's important to us. And let me just share kind of why that is. Linda and I have talked numerous times about our adopted kids. And our adopted kids...
Kids through adoption.
They did not always come through Christmas with a solid family sort of connectedness. It was just whatever was happening kind of thing. And what's so cool now is even though our older sons who grew up with our family connection couldn't make it, our younger kiddos now look so forward to our entire family get together. And to the point where like they are the ones planning and talking and asking who's going to be there. And they're active players in that experience. And so part of the takeaway from Linda and I is, you know, someday when we're gone, the seed has been planted that they cherish the idea of taking care of that family experience. They want that. And when they have kids someday, I can really see that they now have had a taste of a family celebration that is healthy. And they're going to want to duplicate it or, you know, replicate it out into the future with their own family.
Yeah, but we know, hon, there's a lot of people listening that aren't experiencing that.
Yeah.
And for some, this has been a really rough season. And not just because of COVID, but because of family dynamics, whether it be a divorce, whether it be a recent death, whether it be even polar opposite ends on this whole vaccine and the virus. And, you know, I know of people who literally would not get together with family because of the differences they felt on vaccination vaccinations and no vaccinations or whatever. And so the division that has been happening in a lot of homes and a lot of family systems is so sad. And I know for some, this has been a really painful season. And so, hon, when I was thinking about this show, I was literally listening to "Oh Holy Night," which is one of my favorite Christmas hymns. And there's a line in there that says, long live the world in sin and error pining till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. And then he says, as a thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices. And I thought about that weary world, and I thought, that's us today. There is so much weariness. People are exhausted. People are overwhelmed. People are stressed. And that weary world rejoices. And that's what Christmas is to us. That is what it is to our family. That is what it can be for you, because he came for all of the sin in the world, the exhaustion in the world, the pain of the world, the pain of your family. He came, and we can rejoice of that, a thrill of hope that we can have in him.
Hun, can I just say to that point that we see the weary world. That's going to be tough to say. The weary world. We see that today in a time and in a country that has more blessings than any other time in the history of mankind. And the wealth that we have in our country and even across this world is incredible. Never been touched before at the level that it has. And we still see the same magnitude of weary. Yeah. In fact, probably in some ways more in certain areas. And so I think if nothing else, we should start to realize that as long as we are mankind, there will always be a great deal of weariness in this world. And we keep expecting things to change and get better, and they do on many fronts, right? Well, like when we concentrate and we take care of things like poverty and we elevate the level of people coming out of poverty, there's something else that will always come in that we have to play with or deal with, like it's COVID or, climate change and all, whatever the subject is, like there's always another thing on the plate. And so as long as we are mankind as we are, weariness is going to be part of our experience. Yeah.
And so we're hoping that, as we look at the end of 2021, what are you putting your hope in? Because if it is in, who's sitting around the table, that could change next year. If it's how much money is in your bank account, that can change next year, And so those are all sinking sand. Those are all temporary fixes that do not satisfy. And we've talked about that over and over and over again. But, this season, who a lot of folks had a lot of pain and a lot of weariness, they're realizing like, wow, what am I putting my hope in? And we're saying that it can be Jesus Christ. It can be something that is unshakable and that it can never be taken away from you, even if your family can't be together this Christmas.
Yeah. And I think it's important that people middle-aged and younger realize that all of their comforts that they have in this world that is kind of pseudo-rich, right? Like we think we've got it all. That the older generations are, like I always used to think all of my aunts, my older aunts when I was a kid, like they were all church ladies, right?
What's wrong with church ladies? Well, I go to church.
But that wasn't cool when I was a kid, right? Okay. Like, oh, they're like a church lady. And now I see that we're the church ladies and men.
I was going to say, I'm glad you added that men.
Yeah. And meaning that it is interesting how as you get older, how you get fatigued from chasing everything else. And finally you get to the point where, nothing's really satisfying here. And so the older folks, as I've said before, there's no such thing as an arrogant old man. Well, there's a reason why the older generation gets the purpose and reason.
In general, by the way.
In general, if I just looked at percentages, right? If we looked at general percentages, we would see that the older folks, and I'm sure not easily, right? It's not like they were necessarily born that way, but life came through and said, you're going to have to find something. Yeah. And recently I had a friend who lost his mother, and he was talking just about the peace and stuff that she provided. And it was just now at his age, seeing what she brought to that family. And now he's being very reflective of everything that she brought. And part of that is just a faith and all these things that we just took for granted when we were young.
Well, we have a lot of clients, son, who come in our doors at Rock Solid Families who don't have any faith foundation. They've never seen it modeled. They've never been taught about Jesus or have a church home at all. As a matter of fact, when we ask them that, they're like, well, what's that? But because of their desperation for something, they maybe Googled us on the web, and they come in our doors and they're open. They're hungry for something more. They're weary and they're overwhelmed and they feel like they're at the end of the rope. And so I really love that opportunity to speak hope into their lives, to speak truth into their lives. And there's a verse in the Old Testament and then it's repeated in the New Testament where it says, every knee shall bow and every tongue confess his name. And so that day is going to happen at the end of this world. And so I would rather get on my knees on my own than get knocked to my knees in this life, or that humbleness that you were talking about, the humility, or the day of judgment where every knee is going to bow. And so that is where we find our peace and our contentment and that rest for our weary soul.
Yeah. So, a lot of what we're talking about today is as you come into 2022 and you see the craziness that's out in the world, I think it's really important that you start to realize it's not going to go away in terms of tomorrow you'll wake up and everything's, great on this planet. And so our challenge is, what are you going to do to start to find peace or a regular sense of peace? And so what is peace? Peace is that idea that things are going to work out. We've talked about this before, hon, like 87% of everything we worry about never even comes true. And so we toil and worry and have all of these different things, these concerns, and most of it doesn't come together and create the hectic stuff that we thought. And that's because we are cared for by Christ, by God. And we need to just start trusting more in that.
Yeah. But I tell folks all the time, God talks a lot about being our refuge and our stronghold. And, so we've got this protection over us, our fortress. And so I kind of look at it as an umbrella in the middle of a storm. But you got to stay under the umbrella. If you go walking outside the umbrella, man, you're going to get deluged, right? And that's where we try to say, okay, no, stay close to him, stay under the cleft of his rock, stay under the protection of his wings. That's where you're going to find peace. And so we've learned that the hard way. Like you said, we kind of did it the wrong way and then realized, well, that wasn't working real well. So maybe let's try a different route. And because we've experienced that peace, hon, and you and I gave our lives to Christ back in the early 90s and raised our family to know the Lord and to kind of be humbled by him and serve him and love him. And we haven't done that all perfectly. No. But we've seen a peace that passes all understanding. We've seen a hope in something greater than ourselves, greater than our pocketbook, greater than our home, greater than, the size of the people around our table. It's really about him. So if you are the one out there that's had a miserable Christmas, if maybe you have felt alone, maybe you felt betrayed, maybe you have felt abandoned, there is a God who has loved you through this whole time. And he desperately wants a relationship with you. And he can be rest for your weary soul.
So important for us to realize, folks, when you're out there listening, so how do I even do this? What does this even mean? We've talked many times about the idea of where do you get your strength from? And so this is where you'll start to run weak, when your strength is from these outer sources of everything from your wallet to your insurance policy to the people you surround yourself with. That's when it will run weak. And so where do we get our source from? And, Christ says, I leave you peace or I give you peace, the peace I leave you, that whole idea that so much of his work is about peace, like just having a settled heart. All right, stop all the toiling, just have a settled heart and know that I have you. And so that means, and by no means are we saying we don't need the insurance policy, we don't need the job, we don't need savings accounts. That's not what we're saying at all, okay? But those can't be the final things that we think are going to save us, okay?
Yeah.
Because the peace that we're looking for is not just an earthly peace. It is a peace that goes way beyond this earth, right? Very likely there are people in your life and in our life that are having a hard time finding peace on this earth. I mean, if you are, struggling and potentially dying of cancer right now, if you are in a very bad situation in life right now, it's really hard to find peace in some of that. But the peace is something that I can rest. I know I'm going to have rest beyond this life.
Even in the middle of a storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I speak to one thing, hon? Because this is something I'm really wanting to push in 2022, and we've seen this coming in our doors a lot, is that folks are spinning their wheels and trying to find solutions, healing from outside sources, whether it be from their spouse, whether it be from a job, whether it be from a beer bottle, and there's a lot of internal pain, hon, a lot of childhood wounds and childhood trauma that God wants you to heal from the inside out. And he is able to do more than we could ever ask or imagine. But you got to do the work. You got to go in for surgery. You can't just keep putting lipstick on a pig and expect it to look better, okay? It can only last that way for so long. And then the lipstick falls off. And so it's a horrible analogy. But my point is that some of you have been running from things that have happened in your past that you have not allowed the Lord to heal the right way, okay? And your marriages are suffering, and your career is suffering, and your mental health is suffering. And let's go in and do the surgery and allow the Lord to use his people, okay? Not that the people are the answers, the Lord is the answer, but he uses people, and whether it be medication or whether it be therapy, whatever, but we know he's able to do that. We've seen that healing. And so if that's you, if you feel like you have tried everything except Jesus and you're weary, maybe give that a try, because maybe that was the one you should have started with first.
And kind of coattailing off of you, I really want to help people understand, because some people, when they're not like totally at rock bottom, like we always talk about, like what is the definition of rock bottom? When some people aren't at rock bottom, and so in their mind, they kind of believe they're getting by, like, I'm making it happen. Yeah. There are certain attributes that you can look at, and we all have them. So this is not like pointing a finger at any one particular person, but certain things that we hide behind that are fronts in order to get through. Okay. And those can be like anger issues, like when I sort of come unglued on people, depression, anxiety, control factors, all of these things. Like if you notice that in yourself, why do I do these things? Why do I find myself losing my temper in these situations? Why do I find myself withdrawing and anxious about certain things? Why do I find myself trying to control? These are all things that remind us that, whoa, I'm not having a sense of peace. Why do I have to have this anger? Why do I have to have this control? Why do I have to have this anxiety? And that is where you start to analyze a little bit deeper about, I have not really practiced surrendering yet. I don't trust that he's going to carry me. I'm still trying to carry things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up today, we started out talking to some family fun, and it was a great Christmas. Okay. But for many out there,
ate too much, drank too much.
Yeah, for sure. And I have a feeling it's going to be extended throughout the week. But the point is that many of you, that's not your story. But if we put all our eggs in that basket, what happens the day we lose our family or we can't be together with our family, like happened this year? And so we can't rely on stuff or people to do what only God can do. And that's where we've got to turn inward and say, God, you are the one that provides the peace. You are the one that provides the rest. And so whether you had a great Christmas or you had a lousy Christmas, he is still able to do more than you could ever ask or imagine, which is Ephesians 3:20-21. That's my favorite verse. And it's because it's his power at work in us, but he gets all the glory. And so as we said, that holy night where it says, a thrill of hope, a weary world rejoices. And we can do that. We can rejoice in him, because that's where our hope comes from. Not from what's going on in this world, not what's going on around us, but because of him, we can rejoice.
That is pretty awesome stuff right there. The idea that you can actually have that peace. If that seems like a strange idea to you, like, yeah, right, you don't know my life, that could never happen in my life, we would like to challenge you just in that idea. The more that we do what we do for a living, we see a lot of that unsettledness, that lack of peace, that lack of rest. But we also see people, because of the seats that we sit in, finding it and discovering it. And so it is very discoverable. There are awesome things that we can help with. If you are really looking for some peace in 2022, whether it's yourself, your marriage, your family and parenting, whatever it is, all right, if we can help, give us a call. And if we can't help you in your general issue or area, we will point you in a direction to get you that help. Okay. Sometimes it's just a matter of changing a little bit of who you're associating with. And there are people out there that just can't wait to help you find peace. And so we'd like to be part of that. So give us a call at 812-576-7625 and start your journey in 2022 of actually finding authentic peace. One that it doesn't matter what happened. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean bad thing doesn't happen. It means that in the bad thing, you can still find light. You can find peace.
We've had some clients who have experienced divorce and death and destruction, job loss, and they've still come with an understanding of peace like they've never had before. So if we can help you, reach out to us at rocksolidfamilies.org. You can hit the contact button and reach out to us. We would love to walk alongside you to help you find this rest for a weary world and find a peace that passes all understanding.
All right. Very good. So welcome soon to 2022, and we want to get things started right. So in order to do that, we're asking that you listen to our shows, that you share our shows, that you spread those, and that you give us 5-star ratings. So please help us spread the word and continue being part of our team. So Rock Solid Radio, building a strong community, one family at a time. Make it a great 2022.
Ooh.
Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They offer a wide selection of high-quality plants, landscaping materials, and home decor. They do amazing high-quality work and can help you transform your indoor and outdoor living spaces into something beautiful. So stop by Casey's Outdoor Solutions today and let them know you appreciate their support for Rock Solid Radio. Visit Casey's today at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana.